So today we're here with this 1997 Toyota Camry LE, and this is a great little car. Now today's video we're going to be covering the outside, the inside, look under the hood, and take it on a test drive. And I'm going to cover exactly why this is such a great used car to buy, and kind of an idea of price-wise what it costs to maintain. So we're going to start here obviously with the outside. You can see it's a pretty good looking car from the exterior. We actually have 14-inch alloy wheels, which are cheap on tires. This one has the optional gold package, which you can see the gold lettering on the back. It also has gold lettering in the front, and then the optional rear spoiler on this car, which gives it a better, sportier look to the vehicle, which is a nice little touch. It's got a little scratch there on the corner, nothing big, to be expected from a car of this age. Then we look down this side. Everything's straight on this car, just a couple little dings and small dents. Nothing major. But you can see how good the car looks being a 1997. And of course, there's a lot of these on the road today. I see them all over the place. I think since driving this one around, I notice even more how many are out there on the road today. So let's hop on inside the car. You can see this vinyl is in very good condition. No cracks, tears, nothing like that. Same with the leather seating. The front seat is in great condition. This car's got 169,000 miles. So this thing's had a lot of use over the years, and you can see just what condition this is in. Also, the steering wheel is in very good condition. This stuff usually bubbles up. I took it off of the panel here, panel over there, and around the shifter. On the passenger seat, you can see you got a little ripping and stuff like that, to be expected for a car of this year. If you want to fix that, you can actually get it rewrapped, which could cost you maybe 200 bucks. But you could find lots of parts for this vehicle at a junkyard, so it could cost you maybe 50 bucks for a new seat. You can just see how well this thing's held up. Pretty spacious. We actually have a multi-disc CD changer. It looks like it holds 3 in there. And that just goes in right to the compact disc changer. Have a decent amount of space down here for change, papers, whatever else you want. You have 2 cup holders up here in the front. Nice little feature. One's lower and one's a little higher than the other. You have a 12-volt charging down there. You also have another charging port for the cigarette lighter as well. AC in this car works great. Usually in these cars, it will usually just need a recharge on the AC, or the AC compressor goes out. Hopefully it's not the compressor. Compressor could be a couple $100 bucks. But you see also up here on the dash there, that plastic part is cracked. No big deal. Doesn't really bother me. Things like this over here, that's cracked. That happens with these cars over time. But overall, the interior is pretty good condition. And of course, looking at the back here, we can see the condition of the vinyl as well. And the leather seats here in the back look like they've never been sat in, which is absolutely nice, very nice. And the leather actually up here in the back is really soft, supple leather, very good condition. So I'm guessing it's been garage kept somewhat of its life. Another nice feature is the 60/40 split folding rear seats. With the seats down, we create extra space, and if we look from the trunk, just how much extra space we create. Quite a bit of trunk space, that's for sure. Our spare tire in the back. Also interesting how the tools connect to the back of this board. One fell off. So for the interior parts that I've actually had to buy and stick on, for example, this part right here, this plastic part was missing. I got it from a junkyard for, I think it was $5. Also, I just got some really cheap mats on the floors there in the front. Those cost me about $10. In the front here, I actually had to get this plastic piece, which is not been installed all the way yet. I haven't done that because this piece was missing. So that cost me about another $5 as well. So about $20 with that plastic piece, the black plastic piece, and the floor mats. Now I'm not going to be replacing everything in this car and fixing every tiny little detail, but I wanted to fix up the basic things and get that taken care of. Like this plastic right here, I'm not going to replace that. It's just really brittle and breaks over time. On the dash there, that plastic, I'm not going to replace that. Just really doesn't matter. The car drives great. It's just simple things to cover up minor little things that are really cheap. Like I said, in terms of the interior, I only spent $20 on parts. Now again, the seat, I told you could probably get this from a junkyard for like 50 bucks, but I'm not going to worry about that because it's not a big deal to me. So just quickly on the outside, what I've really done mechanically that we can see from here, I put new brakes, front brake pads on there, resurfaced the rotors. I actually replaced this brake caliper. The caliper was bad, so I got a new one, installed that. The tires, they're pretty much almost new tires for 14-inch wheels. You're probably looking at spending, I would say, maybe about $200 for all 4 new tires. Under the hood here, this is where I spent a little bit more time, a little more money, and did a lot more work. Let me just start off basic thing. Had a filter here. I didn't have to pay for it, but replaced it with a new one. The seal was bad on the old one. Did an oil change. For the oil and the filter cost me about, say, $20. Then I did the valve cover gasket. That was about $12. What else did I do here? I did the coolant temperature sensor there, which I think it was $25, $30. I have to look again. And then I did the vehicle speed sensor, which is down there. That cost me $54 from a junkyard. A lot of these parts I was able to get from a junkyard, which is really nice. The battery was done before I got it. The timing belt had been done at 141,700, which is super important for a Toyota engine. And this one's got 169,000 miles, so it wasn't done too long ago. Topped off all the fluids. The radiator was done. This was about $100 with the radiator and fluid change. And what else did I do? Oh, put new spark plugs in there. It was about $3 a spark plug for all 4, so I spent about 12 bucks on spark plugs. And cleaned out the throttle body on this one. I fixed this hose right here, that vacuum hose that was leaking a bit. It's cracked, so I fixed that. Fixed this right here, this little plastic part that broke off really easy. That happens. Fixed it real quick. That was like a $3 part. The hose I got for free. Pretty much everything else in here, I just kind of detailed it up to get the excess oil that was off in here. Because I think the biggest thing that was leaking in here, other than the valve cover gasket, was this cam end seal, which you can't see right now. So you just can't see it, but it was leaking pretty bad. It's actually behind this metal bracket. So that was one thing that really needed to be replaced, and it replaced that. That part was like $3 as well. So super cheap to get this thing cleaned up nice, to get it running the way I wanted it to be running. And some of the major things were done, like the timing belt and the battery and all that stuff, but got everything done. So I spent under $200 with all the parts under the hood here, with everything together, including the rotors, the tires, the brake pads. I didn't really pay anything for the rotors because just resurfaced them, so I didn't have to pay anything for it. It was cheap. I spent a total of about, I want to say $300 to get this car, including the interior parts and everything together. So very, very cheap to maintain. Lots of parts available out there for you at your local junkyards. So on to how this car runs. It starts up every time. As I get this car up to speed, you can just feel how smooth the car rides. It's really smooth shifting car. I'm surprised for a 97, especially a Toyota Camry. I mean, not really that surprised, but I'm just surprised already just how smooth it drives. And that's one of the things you'll notice if you get behind the wheel of one of these cars. They just run great, and especially if they've been maintained. Stopping power on this car, It's what you'd expect from a 90s vehicle. It's not that great, and it's really not that bad either. I adjusted the rear drums on this one, resurfaced the rear drums, and of course, as I told you, I did the front brake pads and resurfaced the front rotors. But even with that, I mean, you could tell it's an older vehicle and it has the stopping power of a 90s car. The car runs and drives great, and that's what really matters to me, especially if you're looking for a commuter car. This is a great car to buy as a used vehicle, and the reason for it, as I did mention already, is that there's so many readily available parts out there for you to purchase from a salvaged vehicle or from a parts place, online, salvage yard, whatever it might be. There's parts all over the place that you can find for a 90s Toyota Camry, especially the 4-cylinder like this one. And for the price and how cheap you can get this vehicle for, and just how cheap they are to maintain and just keep going. Like I said, it might seem like a lot of stuff I've done to this vehicle, but when you think about it, I'm not going to really have to do anything to this car for quite some time to come, other than tire rotation, oil change. Simple, cheap things like that are going to keep this car on the road for a couple 100,000 more miles. Whether you're a beginner driver or somebody on a budget, one really important thing is going to be insurance costs, for sure, which this is like nothing to insure for an entire year. Now, also, the gas mileage on this car is going to be closer to about, I want to say, 30 miles a gallon, which is also good for those beginner drivers and those on a budget. So if you're one of the many out there looking for a cheap, reliable commuter car that's going to get you around town, do what you need, and it's not going to cost you much, I would consider yourself a 97 Toyota Camry. So not only is this car a great commuter car, it drives great, it's reliable, there's a lot of available parts out there, and the best thing is, even with registration costs once a year and oil changes and everything like that, tire rotation, if you're able to do it yourself, you're going to save a lot of money. But in general, you're going to be spending at least just a couple $100 a year to keep a car like this maintained and on the road, which is very good for a vehicle. As many of you know, most cars out there are going to cost you more than that to maintain. So you want to keep this thing going. It's going to be a great car for you. You get something like this, nice used, lower miles, even higher miles, and you can have it for years and years to come. So I really recommend one of these vehicles for anybody who's looking for a cheap commuter car to get them back and forth, either from work, school, whatever it may be. It's definitely a good car if you're in the market for something cheap and reliable. So I want to thank you all for watching. I will bring some more content forth for you soon, and hope you like this video. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and like this video so I can keep making them. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.